Beck talks about how it's private global corporations that have infiltrated the CIA and FBI that staged the terror, and that most of the agents don't know. That's true, too. I'm not even really saying our government staged these attacks or allowed these attacks to take place. The point is that we have newscasts with them saying, get it back, we're going to blow up Building 7, that 47-story building. And I'm supposed to just see that and not talk about it? Or CIA drills of the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon being attacked by airplanes that morning, and the NORAD tapes and the FAA tapes where they're saying, why are all these blips being put on my screens? Why are there drills of the same thing happening while it's happening? So that the Pentagon got confused and stood down. Just like 7/7. Just like 1993, Bill Clinton bombing the World Trade Centers. Bill Clinton's controllers. Bill Clinton, I mean, it's in the New York Times and CBS News. It came out in federal court that the FBI hired Ahmad Salam, had him build a real bomb, and then he said, now run the sting and bust him. They're going to do it in 3 days. The bomb's built. And they said, no, we're letting it go forward. And Ahmad Salam, who worked for the CIA, knew they were setting him up and recorded more than 10 hours of it. Because they were going to set him up. He gave a press conference with the tape. The tape's now been released by the federal government. It's in the latest film we produced, Invisible Empire. The clips of him with the FBI. And Glenn Beck writes a book about it and says it's all real, but then I'm bad because I'm talking about it. Now, why is this being done? Do you remember 10, 15, 20 years ago, national talk show host would say the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, doesn't even exist. It was totally secret then. Now it's public all over TV. It wants open borders, North American Union, NAFTA, GATT, all this stuff. They wrote the Homeland Security Act. They write the major legislation that deals with the takeover. And it's a kook detector. You're a nut. You're a lunatic if you've read Carol-Quigley's book. You're a lunatic if you've read CIA declassified documents. You're a lunatic if you've read the declassified Rex 84 FEMA camp plans, which Beck admits in this book. He said they don't exist, and then in the book he admits it, and then has, I mean, this is insane. Why are they doing this? Because they've caved in. And this is the best news I could bring you. For decades, they tried to pacify libertarians, conservatives, researchers, Americans that were smart enough to not be controlled by the mind control, the disinformation, and the propaganda. They told you it didn't exist. In the last 3 years, that stopped working. And they had to admit they're setting up a Bank of the World, carbon taxes to finance it. IMF 2 weeks ago said the new Bancorp will be the new global digital currency. You'll still have your local currency, but it'll be pegged and controlled by that global currency. They can't deny this anymore. We're now here. They've now bankrupted us, as the IMF and World Bank plans from the mid-90s stated they would do, leaked in 2002, given to the BBC. How did I know they were going to bankrupt us years before they did it? Using derivatives? I had their battle plan. Good people in government leaked this stuff. People always say, well, if all this was true, we'd know. Well, we do. Just the media would never cover it here. So, all these years they tried to pacify you and said it didn't exist. Now, because it's out in the open, they've got to pose as the patriots, come in and admit a little bit of it till they get back into power, sharing power with the Democrats. Now, before I go any further, I want to finish up with what I was talking about with Machete and Fox News Corp funding this race war division film. At the same time, Fox is criticizing it basically to hype it and to promote it. It's incredible. And they need to tell their viewers that they're doing this. But separately, you've got News Corp, one of the biggest pushers in their movies, their TV shows, their radio shows of global carbon taxes. Bill O'Reilly, all of these people pushing it. But at the same time, they then control the movement against it. That way they can defeat it at key junctures. And notice Glenn Beck supported the banker bailout bill. Glenn Beck, of course, over and over again, has supported the Patriot Act, now being used against citizens in non-terror-related cases. He now controls a value-added tax, something the globalists want, something they've got introduced right now. But they're going to keep that along with the income tax. And so my issue is they get your confidence, and then they basically sell you down the river, just like Obama did on the controlled left. And Beck understands this. I mean, he put Carol-Quigley in his book, his new book, The Overton Window, the argument that the two political parties should represent opposing ideas and policies is a foolish idea. Instead, the two parties should be almost identical so that the American people can throw the rascals out at any election without leading to any profound or extensive shifts in policy. Then it should be possible to replace it every 4 years if necessary by the other party, which will be none of the things, getting rid of the tyranny, but will still pursue with the new vigor approximately the very same basic policies. So Beck is telling you that he's an insider. He goes on, the popular will cannot be taken for granted. It must be created. It must be manufactured. A year and a half ago, Republicans were being booed at public events along with the Democrats. So they made rebellion only about the Tea Party, then had the Republicans come in with the Tea Party Express and Dick Armey and finance the whole thing and take that over. The same rhetoric. A lot of truth is being told. But as soon as they get in power, they're going to sabotage it, just like Mr. Global Warming Tax, Newt Gingrich, who wants that globalist tax. Just like he took over the 1994 revolution. There are a lot of good candidates running as Republicans all over this country. And when they are good, like Rand Paul, you see the Republican establishment and Dick Cheney come after Rand Paul when he was running against the establishment Republican in the primaries. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in a fight for the heart and soul of this country, and we've got to hold Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and others' feet to the fire and say, look, Alex Jones and Ron Paul and others were right. There is a global government. It is run by banks. There are carbon taxes. All of this is being set up. They denied that for all those years, and now that they couldn't suppress you learning the truth because of my work and many others' work and my listeners' work, now they're coming out going, okay, some of it's real. I mean, there's quotes in here about the Bilderberg Group, world government, everything. But then on their shows, they make fun of it. But they're being forced to tell the truth more and more. We are winning, ladies and gentlemen. But remember that when the Republicans get back in power, don't be so in love with them and hating the Democrats so much that you don't hold their feet to the fire. Don't be so in love with their propaganda. Just like Bill Clinton supporters wouldn't wake up when I try to talk to him and talk sense into him about him being a liar and corrupt. Because they had invested in him as being their daddy, their friend, their master, their helper. And now you've invested in George W. Bush, and you find out he's just a puppet. So then people invest in Obama, and they won't wake up when he's conning them and pimping them. Now, I got a lot of evidence on this front, but if you want to find the video of this, just search the term Fox admits to planting political brainwashing in popular TV shows. This is News Corp showing clips of TV and movies where they promote global warming and global taxes to the population. But then separately, they've got Fox News where they're fighting it. It's all part of their business model to control the opposition. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and play this short clip. Here is News Corp with one of their executives telling you that they're promoting global carbon taxes. Here it is.
I want to set an example to others in our industry and other industries that no matter what the size of your carbon footprint is, you can make a difference.
Out of staple on record.
Global warming.
Probably.
Press button to see what global warming will do in the next 3 years.
3 years is a long ways away.
What could we do on a practical level to start making a difference?
Just had another thought. What if the Scared Straight show had a green message too?
The biggest thing we've done is inserting messages about the environment into some of our content.
I don't follow. Green, it means environmentally friendly.
The lifeblood of our company is the quality of our TV shows, and we would accomplish nothing if we compromised that quality.
Going green doesn't fit with the rest of the show.
We're working magic, make it fit.
Hey, Brian, I'm not going to recycle this aluminum can. I'm just going to throw it in the trash. Ha! You're Earth's bitch.
The most powerful way that we could communicate the commitment on behalf of our company was to change the practices within the production, as well as work in a message about global warming, about environmental changes, and about empowering people to take responsibility.
Why are your wedding programs bumpy?
Seeds. We're having a green wedding, so after the reception, our guests can plant the programs, grow flowers.
I could live in the sea. I'd make friends with a whale. We'd live in a sunken pirate ship. That'd show global warming.
We've come up with, all sorts of strategies for lessening our footprint. Everything from utilizing hybrid vehicles on our production.
Look at all these Hummers. What kind of jerk would drive one of those?
Dude, this car kicks ass! Yeah, Rumsfeld!
We're using biodiesel fuel in our generators instead of regular diesel.
No car, no electricity.
Coffee?
All right, stop. I can't watch anymore. Stop it. She goes on and on. It's up on Infowars.com. And there's another level of lies. They show reasonable things like recycling, but then tie it to the green agenda. The green agenda is global taxes to the private banks, now openly announced. It's having home inspections. It's not having state control. It's not having local control. So here's my issue. There's Fox TV making fun of George Bush with their executives, so they own both sides of the market, the liberal and the conservative. But they always move the agenda of more collectivism and control and, quote, progressivism forward. And at key points, Glenn Beck's for VAT taxes. He's for, I've even seen him be for the carbon taxes. Now lately he's been against it. Now that he knows that he wasn't able to sucker people. Bill O'Reilly, the same thing. Saying Ron Paul supporters might be terrorists. Remember that 3 years ago during the primaries? That the money bomb might mean they were going to blow something up and nothing to do with that? Saying we need to use the army against these people. There's no FEMA camps. The banker bailout's good. All of this is being done. Oh, yeah, he'll expose Acorn and other little slimy groups, and that's good. But at the end of the day, here's another one. He had a documentary last week about Mao being the greatest mass murderer in history. I've made a film about that. But he didn't tell you it's declassified. The CIA in 49 admits they put Mao in. Our government sent the Bolsheviks over in 1917 to overthrow the Russian government. The banks that run America run the communism because big mega corporations use communism as a way to destroy the middle class, steal their wealth, and give it to them. As the founder of the Rockefeller dynasty said, competition is a sin. They founded the modern environmental movement. They're funding Machete and la-raza. The state of Texas is funding Machete, the race war anti-Anglo movie. Do you understand? They are running both sides of it to divide and conquer and bring down this republic. Obama works for the same people as Beck.